the desire to do it was bigger than the capabilities. And that is pretty much me in a nutshell. The desire to do it is always stronger than the being able to do it. But by wanting to do it, it forces you to learn how to do it. I'm always like...
Isn't that the key to success, though? Because here's the thing about doing anything. It's always more complicated. No one has the roadmap to get to the point they want to be, right? So most people stop at that because they want the roadmap.
Shit's about to go down. I'm feeling something in my spirit.
Chats and Tatts with Aaron Della Vedova.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Chats and Tatts with me, your host, Aaron Della Vedova. I am fortunate and so grateful to be here in Frankfurt, Germany at Gods of Ink. It's just a huge honor to be here. Some of the best tattoo artists in the world. They're not all here, but a lot of them are here. And I have one of them in front of me today. This man's body of work is, I'm gonna try to find out how he got it all done. I don't quite understand it. He's got a lot of other things going on, so we're gonna get to the bottom of that. But it's phenomenal and you should all check it out. So with all that being said, please welcome my guest today, Chris Crooks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, really, honestly, thanks for having me on, because like, there's a lot of awesome people out there, and it's really nice to be in here chatting to you.
Well, you're definitely one of them, dude. Your body of work is, your work's phenomenal. But when I say body, I mean the sheer amount of tattooing that you've done in 24 years but you did 16 you start.
Yeah.
Let's go back. I like that part of the story. Like, how does tattoo find you? How do you find tattoo? I mean, at such a young age, how does this happen?
Honestly, like my grandparents, both grandfathers had tattoos. My dad had tattoos. Tattooing culture's not, like, it's a bit like the rest of the UK. It's not that off, not too many. You don't see too much of it.
Right.
But what I was saying would be saturation, you know, at that time. And my dad's friend was getting tattooed heavily, and it was just of that era where you got tattooed enough to then you went, right, now I think I'll start to do tattoos. And he opened a shop, and he asked me when I was 16, could I draw a flash for him?
Had you been drawing?
Been drawing, yeah.
You were the kid who drew?
All the time. Not great at it, and I'll be perfectly honest, still not great at it at all. I mean, there's some people, I guess, that are artists that translate into tattooing, or some people that are naturally. I work hard to be a solid. I feel like
I'm that type of guy most of the time.
Yeah, I'm never, you know, doing better than I expect. It's always chasing my own tail and trying to make sure I'm doing something that's of merit. So even back then, he was asking me to draw a flash, and I was drawing flash, and then for him for the shop. And then one day after school, I was in my school uniform, he said, do you want to... So when I was drawing the flash, I thought that the machine just was a thing to hold the needle and just go like that. Because I had never seen him tattooing, and I couldn't go to get my dad to get tattooed, because then it was like, there was no customer service. It was hard.
You didn't bring your kids?
No, not at all. I mean, the studios then were like, if you went in and were hanging around too much, like even just taking too long, they would just tell you, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Basically, that was it. And so I never seen the process, even though it was surrounded by the end result. And, you know, in my absolute ignorance and the confidence of youth, I went in that Thursday, he was doing the tattoo, and I said, and that's all you do? You just draw like it's a pen? That's all you do? And he was like, it's not as easy as that. I'm like, well, I thought you had to like do the dots.
Yeah.
And he said, well, if you think it's that easy, then when I'm finished this, you can tattoo me. So I'm like, seriously? And he was like, yeah, you can tattoo me. So I was 16. I did a skull and crossbones on his back of his shoulder. The adrenaline, I'll never forget it. I mean, like, it is probably like the first time you take drugs. And it was all over so fast. And I was like, can I do another one? And he was like, right, well, I have this old Sailor Bill one, which is like our version of Sailor Jerry. He said, you can reline it. So I'm just like, right, let's go. Reline it, line it. Can I do another one? Can I do another one? Like, I was just absolutely hooked. Because it felt like everything up to that point was always what I was gonna want to do. I always wanted to be a tattooist from as long as I can remember. You know, when you're a baby and you're like, you know, you don't remember things, but grandfather's arms, everything. It's just always part of your life. I remember in primary school. Oh, sorry, I should have turned that off. At primary school, we had, you know, if it was raining outside, you would sit in, and I was drawing on people's arms, like at the age of, you know, 7, 8 years old. All I wanted to do. The desire to do it was bigger than the capabilities, and that is pretty much me in a nutshell. The desire to do it is always stronger than the being able to do it. But by wanting to do it, it forces you to learn how to do it. I'm always like...
Isn't that the key to success, though? Because here's the thing about doing anything. It's always more complicated. No one has the roadmap to get to the point they want to be, right? So most people stop at that because they want the roadmap.
Yes.
They're like, oh, I would totally do this dream thing I have in my mind. Just show me how to get there. Yeah. Well, the answer is there is no map. Yeah. The map, it'll show you 2 steps, and when you walk the first 2, it'll show you the next 2. You know, so it doesn't surprise me that that's sort of your nature with all that you do. I don't know what I want to call this. Is it ignorance? Maybe that's...
It is ignorance, completely.
Yeah. Which is a gift in a way.
It is. And
mixed with a little confidence, you know?
Well, I can't remember who said it. It might have been Mark Twain, and it was like the ignorance and confidence of youth. And that was when, you know, you had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And I just thought, this is the best thing ever. And I've just been doing that. But the problem with that is, and everyone's got a little bit of imposter syndrome, that is inherently built in if that's the way you approach things. Because if you plan meticulously and come to the end product and you feel like you've planned it all meticulously and you've produced, then you've less feeling of like imposter syndrome because you feel like, well, I've done the work, here's the thing.
Right.
If you throw yourself in it, then after you go, oh shit, maybe this isn't, it's, do you know what I mean? It's ass in my face.
Fake? And, yeah.
And that's something, that happens 6 times today. 6 times today.
Still happening.
So, colouring something in, and the guy who his tattoos are solid. I love his work. Like, oh man, I love your work. And you're like, you feel like, what, are you taking the piss? Like, are you being serious? And they're like, oh yeah, and it's absolutely genuine. I am a solid 6.5. And on a really good day when the stars line to 7, and that's been like 24 years of that. But I am so comfortable with that. I would much rather be than that than and I'll always be chasing it, and I'm happy that in that, you know.
Well, and that provides a lot of energy and drive. You know, if you get a little too like, I've got it handled, that's a problem. Yeah. You know, I've got it figured out, that's a problem.
Some people really do have it figured out.
Oh man, you meet a younger I mean, this happens to me all the time, the younger tattooer that's a little too proud of what happened today. Yeah. You know, you're just like, oh, that's not good. No, you should, I mean, give yourself a little pat, but realize that can be better. You know this, right? I think that's a good thing, actually. You know, but we have to forgive ourselves too, and we have to allow ourselves to make mistakes, and we have to be okay with those mistakes, and not just beat ourselves up to the point where we are stifled. You know, so it can go both ways. But that's a good mixture for tattoo. Well, for anything, but for tattooing, especially at that time when it wasn't.
It certainly was. Yeah.
It wasn't a path that was really respected or accepted by most anyone.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that, you know, you used to apply for anything. Like, it was very hard to rent a house when we were first trying to find a house. As soon as you said you were a tattooist, they were just like, nope, couldn't be a car insurance. Well, I'm not talking about the 80s, this is like 2003.
Really?
Yeah. So with Belfast, we're way much more behind. Whenever I was tattooing then, you know, information was trickling down, you know, like at such a small rate. And it was, I'm glad because you get those things with the making of your needles, and people were well on to just buying pre-mades, because the guy who taught me was really making, you know, it was the blind leading the blind. And so there was we were it definitely was a time capsule. So you weren't getting like access to stuff. And he was also one of those guys that was like, I remember whenever I got, like, everything was 14 rounds, shading for everything, didn't matter what it was.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I think
little
one of
pencil
I had
grips.
three people who taught me, and I think one of them there was no magnums.
Yeah, no magnums, exactly.
I remember the first time I had heard about one, and I told the guy that was teaching me, big ass fucking Hell's Angel with a beard to his dick. Name was Hinge. I could go on with that guy, but oh, you can't use those. Why? Oh, you want to rake meat out of people? I'm like, in my mind, I was like it was a shovel.
Yeah,
I'm like, you mean if I go like this, it'll scoop out meat? He's like, yep. That's why we use fucking, we were coloring in with 7 liners. And shit. You know, filling things like this big.
Yeah.
How funny. Yeah. Well,
I remember actually, he got a catalog and black gloves just came out, and I was like, can I get black gloves? He's like, no. Because they're like 50 pence more expensive.
Yeah, we're not spending money on that shit.
And even nowadays, they still use white gloves. Yeah, so like that, I definitely, I'm really fortunate to have been around with all that, because I think that's talked about a lot now, the values of those things. You know, the stuff that we were tattooing again was, Cherry Creek Flash or stuff like that would have been like, wow, that would have been like once a month you would have got that. We were doing mostly paramilitary tattoos. So
what do you mean?
Paramilitary.
Oh,
yeah. So like UVF tattoos, IRA tattoos, mostly just flags, guns, hands, Old English lettering, and that was just the day to day of it. And I was getting magazines and seeing the obvious, you know, Phillips work, Mick's work, and just thinking like, how that's never going to happen. Like that's, I know I would love to do that, but how is it going to go from this to that?
Especially where you live, no one I know they now do, and probably even did then, but the idea is nobody wants that here. Yeah. No one's ever going to ask me to do that. No one's going to spend the fucking money on that.
Nobody's going to, yeah. I remember buying an A3 sketch pad, and my boss was like, why are you drawing tattoos that big? No one gets tattoos that big, because it was just boop, 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 and then fill it all in. Right. Yeah, and I think like the decision to open my own studio was remarkably premature, but I knew that the only way was to set out, you know, move to the city that I knew nobody in. Me and my wife moved there when I was 18. We both moved, and started looking for a shop, and knew nobody. I mean, I was, I'm so proud actually of that person for how naive he was, and got a shop, and so I'm going to call it White Dragon. I'm going to just, this is it. And it just was all fine. Everything worked out. But I had to upsell every day. If girls wanted stars, I talked them to cherry blossoms. If a guy wanted tribal, I went through this period of doing tribal that was really thick with Japanese wind bars in it. Just anything and everything. They would just squeeze it in there.
Guys like us should do a table book of our early work.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't have photos of so much of it, and you know, for many years, I'm like, I'm glad there's no pictures of that shit. Now I'm at a phase where I'm like, man, I would love to show the world what I used to do.
I actually have all of my old photos.
You got all? I got some.
And I flick through them, and I do, like, it's so funny.
It's hilarious.
Because then there was no Google Images, so custom really meant custom. I mean, we were literally just drawing something that was never. And that's the reason why I got so busy in the city was I didn't have any flash in the shop.
That was pretty like progressive.
Yeah. And when you walked in, I was beside a Chinese restaurant, and people thought it was like part of the Chinese restaurant because it was just like, you know, looked quite Japanese looking. And I literally
Can I get some chow mein? No, man, we fucking tattoo here.
But like, the thing was like, because you're getting books to look through, and even though
Is this why you started doing Japanese stuff? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But people that just came in, and I was like, what do you want? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what do you want to get? And I would just start drawing stuff. And it was like, it was shit, by the way, but it was so much more engaging. People were like, I can't believe the way you just drew that. And I'm like, no, that's not going to look like that. Trust me, it's going to look a lot better. And I only took appointments because
another progressive thing to be doing.
I just went. I can't. The walk-in thing and this is why even conventions, I cannot do walk-ups at all. I'm locked into that. I need time, headspace to prepare. because it was fun. You didn't know what was going to come in next, but it was that time whenever we would arrive at the shop, and from 7 a.m. people would have been queuing outside, and it was like, get it done, get it out. I remember because new school was starting to become a thing, and I'd be like, do you want some neon?
You can blame that on me, by the way.
But I was
I was the first guy to put eyelashes on a koi fish, by the way.
oh, no way.
I want that on record.
If I had time, in my phone, I have a koi with a picture I found with eyelashes, and it was probably, it must be your fault.
I have actually.
It's very pretty.
It got printed in tattoo. And a lot of them happened after that.
Yeah.
Maybe it was me. Sorry. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but I would say, do you want to put some neon green in it? And the boss would be like, what, is it in the picture? No, then don't do it. Just wrap it up and away you go. And I mean, even then, you were putting so much Vaseline on. It was because you did it and you went, I'm not even sure this is
That was an old trick my boss taught me.
Cover with Vaseline.
When your tattoo looks like shit, just at the end, just wad a lot of Vaseline so they can barely see what's going on, and then you show it to them.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
It sounds like everyone was reading out of the same playbook.
Yeah. Well, that was the time, and that's the beginning of, I call it the tattoo renaissance, and I like to believe that I'm some kind of wizard or smart businessman, but the reality is, as I look back, it was a timing thing. I opened Guru Tattoo 5 years ago, whatever it was, and I guess in my mind, I was probably a better tattooer than most people around me, but the line, right? We'd show up at the shop any day, and there was people waiting outside to come in to try to get in. And so it's good timing for us as owners, Obviously times have changed, we can get into that later. But we were both growing up in the same era, I would say. So I get what you mean by all that.
And I think if you did an apprentice with someone like you described, the guy with the big beard, and he was probably like a hard character because you had to be.
Yeah.
Because you were dealing with harder customers. I have some memories of really hard customers because they're getting paramilitary tattoos. They're dangerous people. These are guys that have been convicted of murder. They're out in the Good Friday Agreement. They're hard guys, and you're 16, 17 years old, and you're tattooing them, and they will walk over you given half the chance. So that environment's hard. So when I opened my shop, the revolutionary idea was just to go, hi, how are you? How can I help you? And people are like, oh my God, this is the nicest tattoo studio I've ever been in. This is just being nice to people.
Yep.
And then just that little bit of drawing for them or whatever. It's a tiny little bit of extra that just naturally is what I felt like I wanted to do, and that led into just being really successful.
Well, that's a revolutionary idea at that time.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, same thing happened for me. People couldn't believe, no flash. They couldn't believe that I was nice to them. They couldn't, holy fucking shit, this is a whole new thing going on here. Yeah, that did happen. And then it kept on rolling.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because back in those days, my early days, I've been tattooing for 33 years. In my mind, I just figured nobody other than Americans knew how to tattoo.
Yeah.
Yes, there were the Japanese, but that stuff sucks anyway. Nobody wants that shit. Who wants a fucking, and I don't mean that literally. This is my mindset at the time. First of all, nobody wants any of us to tattoo that at the time. But then you see the pictures I do see, they're traditional Japanese. They're not Horiyoshi's work though. They're good-ish. And I'm like, that's crap. So then it's like, what's happening in Europe or Eastern Europe or any of these places? Nothing. Well, the fact is there's guys like you there, but the problem you guys are all having is the market, the tools and all the stuff hasn't shown up. We've gotten a little more of it at this point than you guys have had. And since then we have seen, what I've seen is this worldwide explosion. But I thought all the best tattooers in the world were mostly in America, and turns out it makes sense. They were all over the world. They just couldn't access the market like they do now.
Well, I think in any creative stream, certainly music, even back in the 60s and 70s, America was you want to break into America. It was the pinnacle of quality, and I mean it's a fucking big place, so you could be forgiven for looking left and right and only seeing really good American tattoos. You'd have to, and where would you have seen anything from Europe? It's really only people like Mickey who. It's actually, I don't think it's how profound people like Mickey are to the global tattoo industry because of, without that, the influence they've had through running shows like this and bringing a certain amount of moderation and quality and exposure to good things, even through the magazines. Like, you wouldn't have seen them. It's the only way you would have seen them. Like, I remember whenever there was a shop, our local shop, and they had Flash magazine.
Yeah, Flash.
Ink.
Flash was the only magazine that would send you a check. Did you ever get one of those checks?
No.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was Flash. They would print, if you got a half page, it was $40. I don't know. Or it was Tattoo.
Yeah, because were they both the same? Were they both the same company?
I thought they were.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just funny that, I don't know why I'm saying that, but
I was buying Flash from our local newsagents, and it was a company called Comag. This guy, another guy who likes tattoos, must have been asking the guy, "Can you import this magazine?" And then I would go in, and like sometimes a young person would be on the counter, and I would go, "Is there a copy of Flash for me?" Like, yeah, and I would buy it. I never knew who that guy was, and like you were just scrambling over it, but that was once every 4 months, and you got to see a load of new things. You get that every day by going like this, and it's just boom. Yep. You see it all. So everything was so much more precious. Everything.
Yeah.
I was cutting stuff out of and
putting
them up on the wall, and like
those magazines were kept in a special drawer in a special box, and you didn't let anyone look at them. And we used to drive around California and go into tattoo shops. We'd go up to San Francisco and step into Marcus Pacheco's shop or any of these places and just pretend. You couldn't even tell them you were a tattooer. They would hide the portfolio. So you'd, I'm thinking about getting tattooed, and they're like looking at you like maybe, give you the portfolio, and you're just looking and you can't take it, so you're just memorizing. What the fuck? Okay, that I'm gonna try to do that. This is the way it was, right? And now, of course, with the phones, it's I don't know what it is. It's some kind of a free access to all information, which is broadly the whole world. But in tattooing, we've seen the effects of that. Which is beautiful, because all it did was accelerate our craft, and we see it out there every day. Where people have taken tattoo, it's unbelievable. I don't even have. I don't know how some of these tattoos are even done. When I look at them, I've been tattooed for 33 years. So that's a good thing. Business-wise and economy, and that's a separate issue. But the art form itself, because of the phone, it's blown us up. It's blown the crap.
And there's a lot. It makes it more, like socially acceptable is a big thing. And there's definitely moments throughout, each decade, like Miami Ink, and it becomes more to the masses. And there's certainly people, you could sit and watch a convention, that 30, 40, maybe 50% of those people wouldn't have even entertained the idea of getting a tattoo if it was 20 years ago or 15 years ago. But then that type of person brings out a different type of art.
Now they're into it.
I mean, if you imagine, can you imagine just getting a time machine, going back to a convention in 1995, taking the whole crowd, bringing them to the future and let them walk around? I think they'd just be like, it'd be interesting. Like, is this tattoo? I like it, but I wouldn't. Ooh, no. Like, where's the stuff? Where's the tattoos? The stuff we know? Because now
what's up with all these oil paintings on people's bodies?
It's just like, no, I just want a big tattoo. So that it's almost like the chicken and egg. Is it the tattooist creating the work for the client, or is there a type of client that wants more aesthetically pleased? And the lines are blurred.
They are very blurred, and there's both clients out there. They those are two different crowds, but they're both thriving. Well, wow. Yeah, I think you have the feeling I have when I think of tattoo and my life in tattoo. I don't have words for it, but nostalgic or something. It's I don't know. I sometimes tear up almost sometimes when I think about it.
Actually, when you asked me a couple of questions earlier on, it probably is maybe the afterburn from last night as well, that I was actually sort of getting a little, just thinking about it, going back. It's really only I turned 40, and it just feels like this past 12 months I've become more profoundly aware of I'm getting older. And always felt like every time I went to the convention it was the young guy. And it just seems like this year all of a sudden there's a shift. I just feel like I'm not the young guy, and then everything then becomes more nostalgic. You started looking back. There's an arc to 40, I don't know, maybe it's different for other people, but I just sort of feel like everything seemed to be, there's a lot more in the rearview mirror. And then that point, and then of course you have fantastical romantic ideas of all that stuff as well, because a lot of it was fucking a pain in the ass.
Yeah. There's some kind of romance there to what it all is, and I don't think people realize historical moments when you're in them, right? You're just in it, and then it takes years, and you look back and you're like, oh my fucking God, I was there, I didn't even know it was important.
Yes.
But it was so important. Man, I wish I would have paid more attention.
Yeah.
So that's something I try to bring into my life now is, you might be in one of those right now. Any day, right now counts.
Yeah.
But what am I doing? Where am I doing that now in my life? Where there's very important things happening right in front of me, but because it's just Tuesday, whatever. And then 10 years has to go by before I'm like, that was fucking beautiful and rad, because I see the picture on my iPhone and I'm like, oh my God. And then I remember the day I was there, but was I really feeling that feeling? Nope.
Yeah.
So I guess age does that in some regard, but especially in our industry, I didn't understand the ride I was on. And now I'm looking back, I'm like, wow, this is something. This is an important thing that just happened and still happening.
Yeah.
Very cool. I get just more grateful. The gratitude just grows and grows and grows, and that's a good feeling to have. I
think that part, like being grateful for that opportunity, like that opportunity where you made it yourself, or some people. I was very fortunate. My dad's friend was a tattooist. And I got the tattoo, and then the following Saturday I was tattooing customers. I was so massive in the deep end. Yeah. And by today's standard, that is quite literally the most abhorrent idea ever, that you would apprentice someone and on the Saturday you'd be tattooing someone. But back then, it was the Wild Wild West. There really was no rule of thumb. And I'd be honest, it was the most phenomenal time. And I remember so many, you cut your teeth fast, the learning curve is sharp, and and I'm really grateful to have had that. But tattooing in general is probably one of the most rewarding. I think anyone who's creative and can live from that it doesn't get any better than that. It really doesn't. There's not a day that I've ever sat at the edge of the bed and went, oh, and that hasn't happened. There might be day in traffic on the way, the mechanics of getting there, but the minute starts,
or the business of it.
The business, yes. Yeah. But the minute you just put the first line in, it's just everything washes away, and you're right there, and it's really such it really is such a spiritual thing, and we if you look at where it all started, in the tribal regions, tattooing was part a marking around a larger ceremonial spiritual moment, and there's no doubt about it. Now it is very aesthetically pleasing, but I think a lot of people don't realize what's happening when they're doing the thing. Headphones on, completely detached from the customer. There's just skin. Unfortunately, there's a human attached to it, and that's the thing, that it doesn't really matter how good it is. I think that the experience of it is the most profound thing that will last forever, and that's really all that matters. And this is why once I came to terms with that, I'm a 6.5. I could just enjoy the experience. It's not that I wasn't trying. I'm always trying. I'm always trying to make sure that I'm making the right decisions. But I can count on one hand how many people I've tattooed in 20 odd years that I didn't get on with.
Yeah, me too.
Really fortunate clients that we attract them through our own attitude, for sure.
The law of attraction, for sure.
And I think that actually, obviously everyone's talking the current climate of tattooing and everything, and I think that everything's a pyramid. You've got the guys at the top, and you've got the wider good tattoos, but maybe just not really unreal. And then of course there's always going to be guys that aren't great. But I can find guys down there I would go for a drink with all day long, because they're passionate about it, and their clients go to them because they just love the experience. And there's guys at the top who are like, I don't know why I'm not busy. And it's like, because you treated your customers like shit for the past 10 years. You took it for granted.
Yep.
And now you turned up 3 hours late for your appointment, you had headphones on, you built no relationship with them, and then now they're just dissipating and you don't know why. And then I was really narrowing in on one particular thing, but for me that's where like I owe like everything to the customer. Every single thing, because without the customers, you're just gonna have ideas.
Well, yes, I agree 100%, and that's the best part of the job. And I think we're fortunate because when we started tattooing, it was almost necessary in a way. Like you had to build a relationship with your clientele. But now, so think of the new tattooer that's coming in right now. What they know of tattooing is they open up their phones and they go, okay, so to be successful at tattooing, I just have to make something that looks like that. And so they're just racing towards that goal without this other stuff we're talking about. And on some level, it's they're missing the point. But on another level, I see it as sort of a survival thing. If you want to come into tattooing right now and you want to not just pay your rent, but maybe make enough money to get ahead in life, you're going to have to be fucking good. I mean, the days of back when we were tattooing, you could just be a hell of a nice guy, give somebody a decent tattoo and do well.
Yeah.
I always say the word like a barber or something. And yes, that still exists somewhere, but in the bigger scope of the picture, that's sort of gone now. Folks that come to me now, they're like, I used to tell them all if they had talent, you want to do this? Okay, I think you should do this. This is going to be good for you. I don't really say that anymore. I'm just like, I don't know. What I'll tell you is if you want to come in right now, you better end up being fucking really good at this. And I talk about the love and the connection and all that too, but you've got to fucking figure your shit out, because open that shit up and look at that phone and that's what you're up against.
Yeah.
And there's an army, that's what's happening now. There's an army behind that.
Yeah.
So, that's interesting. For some of these youngsters that are just fighting for the sickest Instagram pic, it bothers me, but at the same time, I'm like, well, they want to survive. And this is the new way to survive.
Yeah, that's the currency. And you're right, and so much so to the point that whenever you get to that top level of like people are in this room and that the quality is standard. That's what you're getting.
Yeah.
That's like just booking a 5-star hotel and there being a bed in the room when it is that much level of quality. So then even more so, the experience around it has to be equally as good. And I've learned that from getting tattooed myself. And I think in anything in life, if you can take value in a bad experience to make sure if you're in a position to be on the flip side of that you make sure you don't perpetuate that you make sure you nip that in the bud and change it up. I've had really bad tattoo experiences.
Me too.
And with, phenomenal artists who I respect them artistically but don't respect them personally. And then I got tattooed by Philip. And I'll never get tattooed by anybody again. With the exception of Luke. Because it was just holy shit, this is how people, this is how you should be treated. And the tattoo is almost a byproduct of the whole experience.
Yes.
And that's what, I don't like to ever try and put things in my mind in bullet points or be conceited in that it's a planned strategy, but I'm just reflecting on it, not so much that you can sort of have like a good tattoo at a good price or a good time, and you can have two of those things. You can't have all three. You can have a good time and a good tattoo, and argumentally probably won't be a good price because there's going to be a lot of and I talk a lot when I'm tattooing, so it's not so bad.
I do too.
But so it's not so. But if people come in and they put me under pressure, like sometimes it happens. This is the problem with social media. That they fly in and they're looking at sleeve done in 2 days, and you're like, oh, what the fuck. And I always say, like, you're going to get a good tattoo, and it's going to be a good price in that I won't stop, but it's not going to be a good time. And then I could spend, 23 hours with someone over 2 days, do that sleeve. And the sad thing is if they walked into the room, I probably wouldn't know them. because it was so that then I was just there to make a tattoo.
Yep.
And as much as I love the process, I'm a bit sad that I don't get to really invest in the person more around that, because it is just, you're tattooing differently. It's just not in your flow state.
Especially when you get into the large format stuff, and then there's this like pressure of production.
Yeah.
These people are signing up for 100 hours worth of tattooing. Yeah, I catch myself doing that too. There was less pressure back in the day. It was more like, let's chat, let's talk, we'll see what happens today. Yeah. Usually it was a flat rate on the piece anyway. And now it's like all hourly, and every hour counts. And I catch myself in that space where I got to do this thing for this person. I'd like to get to know you, and you're telling me about your life, but I really can't listen to that right now. I'm trying to fucking shade your ass to your fucking back, And also in that regard, like the bigger work puts people in a different kind of place as well. I mean, when you're getting ground on for fucking 7 hours, that chit chat and banter, it doesn't always happen as easily.
That's for sure. Yeah.
But that does back away as you get into large format tattooing, and that's fine. But it is cool to acknowledge it. There is a difference there. But it is funny how you broke into those three parts. You can't have all three, so pick what you want.
And there probably is tattoos that can deliver all three of those things. But like for me personally, I just love people, and like I get the biggest thing. Like even this weekend, people are buying prints, and I always say to them, like, so like, see when you bring it home, if you get it framed, like send me a picture. I want to see it, where it is. And that's like, because it's part of me. It might just be a print, but it's part of something I've done going out, and I'm always curious, like, where is that? Where is it going now? Like, what's it doing?
I like that. I've never done that. I'm going to start doing that. That's
I just
cool.
want to see what they've done, and I'm like, because like they probably don't realize, like, they're going to go to framers, might go to IKEA, just get a cheap frame, might be for their kid's bedroom, whatever. And I'm always curious, like, where'd that little part of me go? And most people are pretty good at it. It's really busy here, so they're buying a lot of stuff.
Right.
But I love it next week. These messages come through. Oh, just got it framed. They're like, oh, cool. That's nice. That's good to see.
That's fucking cool. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to do that. So let's, going up through your tattoo career a little bit. We're hearing about your young years and this way you came into tattooing. When does the switch happen? There's some point in your career where you start getting pretty fucking serious about this stuff, and you've at this point been exposed. Maybe it was Philip, maybe it was Henning. I don't know who, but at some point this switch happens where you get the idea in your head, like, wait a second. Tattoos can be more than these things, these small things. They can be this decoration for the human body. Yeah. When did that breakthrough occur, or how?
It was a slow burn, but a rapid shift when the time came. And I was, like I said, always trying to just upsell Japanese. And, nobody knew what a Kapala was.
But why were you always trying to, what was the influence towards Japanese? Who's your inspiration?
So the inspiration for it actually is not from tattooing. So my grandmother was a big antique person. Mm-hmm. So I would have went to like antique fairs and Miller's Antique Guide, and I was always drawn to Asian furniture, design patterns. I also worked in a Chinese restaurant when I was 15. Okay. That's a massive part to do with it. Okay. So we would have got at New Year's, a bamboo scroll, it would have the dragons, and I was always just like, it just seems like it was just always there. Mm. The desire to want to be a tattooist by any means necessary, and this subconscious artistic influence of everything that was from Asia was just building up. And when I did the studio, it was like, I have a vase in the studio, and it was from a local antique shop, and it was £200, and I paid it off £5 a week, and it's in the shop still, and that it was just that, like, all tattoos are like that, like magpies, like, if you're whatever you're into, like, if I thank God I have no space anymore. If you go on holiday and I've seen any sense, if I smell incense in the air or I see Tibetan furniture, like, my wife's like, oh God, oh no. But
do you believe in reincarnation?
I mean,
I'm hearing like maybe you were an Asian man or something.
Something in the past.
To have that Asian art, I did not think you would say that. I thought you were going to say, well, then I saw a magazine, I saw Henning's work, or I saw Philip's work, and that's when I decided I'm doing Asian. This is a totally different story.
Oh, it's, even though the output isn't like, you know, top spec, it comes from a very pure place.
Yeah, it does.
It's just like what I am always attracted to in every sense. And like it just goes back as long as I can remember. And then when the tattoo thing started, when I was in the shop and the magazines were there, I was looking at the Japanese tattoos because they were tattoos of the other thing. And then I wanted to then bring those together. And then when I opened the shop, that was an opportunity to consciously bring the two together. And call it White Dragon Tattoo by setting out from the get-go that it's quite clear that this is where the direction I want to go. And then I was, you know, I had 4 or 5 guys working for me 3 years later, which is a really chance thing. A guy came into the studio who was from Hungary, and he had Hungarian friends who were tattooists. And he said, like, would you be interested in them coming to work? And I was like, yeah. I actually said, I'll have to go and ask the boss, because they were older than me. And I wanted, like, I was young, I just wanted to give this idea that, like, you know, there's another guy in the background, like, you know.
We got a big corporation back here.
We go to
the board meeting, I'll get back to you.
Yeah. And they came to the shop, and once they were phenomenal, even the black and grey realism, tribal, Nordic type stuff. And what it did was then, I flicked a switch and I said to Vesti, the shop guy, I said, I have really bad news and you're going to be the guy that's going to have to deal with this. As of Monday, I'm only doing Japanese. I said, what do you mean? I said, I'm only doing Japanese. And it was the other guys were super happy, and I knew they were better at all the other stuff anyway. Yeah. And I remember sitting in the room I tattooing, and like I could hear people come up the stairs, and they were like, "Hey, I just want to get tattooed by Chris," and I could hear Vesti go, "He's actually only doing Japanese now." And then most of the people I could hear, I was sitting in the room like really shitting myself, like I feel like I've really betrayed my clients, but I knew it had to happen this way. And most were like, yeah, do you know what, I get it, that's what he's into, so yeah, no, that's cool, I'll go to the other guy. Sometimes you'd have got, really? Yeah, well, tell him to go fuck himself. And then they would leave.
And sometimes they probably said, okay, yeah, then I'll get a koi fish.
And there was that as well. They were like, well, I really want to keep going that way. So it was a very decisive decision to do that.
Yeah.
And then that just led into, you know, doing it all the time.
Right.
Like a style is like a musical instrument. You know, if you pick up the guitar on a Monday, the piano on a Tuesday, the violin, it's going to take a lot of years to get good at them all.
Yeah.
Where if you're just doing them every day. But if you just do them all, or do the one thing consistently, and then it was just deciding that I have to do 7 hour minimum, 7 hours minimum. I need to really get time on this. And I guess like there were just decisive moments, and it certainly propelled the ability.
You seem like a guy to me that's very in tune with his intuition. That's a form of wisdom. There's so many decisions you have made that there was no reason to make them, but you just felt like this is what you should do.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of the good decisions in your life. That's cool.
I know where it comes from. My parents got divorced. You don't have choices. As soon as you get to an age of making choices, you don't fuck around.
Yeah.
You make the right
serious.
choices.
Yeah.
That's why I moved. That's whenever I met my wife. We got married when we were 21, had kids when we were 23. I knew we had a conversation. She was the same background. Parents both divorced, remarried. And we basically make decisions we make them and we commit. And that's essentially, you know, something that I do. And don't ever betray yourself by being indecisive. And waking up and find yourself in a position that, you know, if you had a clone, they would tell you don't do it. So as soon as just avoid that. But that not to sound callous or cold. It comes from empathy for yourself. You have to have empathy for other people, but you have to be empathy for yourself to protect yourself. You know, so that's why those decisions were immediate. And I do meet some guys in the bar. I don't know about you, I really remember everybody. And
not their names.
Not their names.
Yeah.
But first thing is I'll always be like, oh yeah. Whilst I let the brain download, and then I'm like, did you ever get that job you were going to Liverpool? And I'm like, why the Fuck, do you remember that? Like, it's just, it's like you said, it's not the names, but it's the little.
Oh yeah.
Because you spend so much time with people, you know.
Yeah, and there's an imprint that's made when you put art on people, and it just imprints, and it's like one of the easiest memories to access for some reason. Not have the same effect, not the name always, or you know, but yes, yeah, that's well, and tattooing is like this lifestyle. Find a decision, make the decision, go all in. I mean, that's kind of the art form.
Yeah.
You know, painters can back away, put white over something or whatever. You know, our art form is all in. You put it, you can't back, there's no reverse, you know? So that general way you look at life has served you well as a tattoo artist, specifically. That's interesting. I did not think you would say that. I thought it was going to be and of course I know since then you've been influenced by all the names I've already mentioned and many more.
Yeah.
But you stuck, so what age are we talking when that decision happened? I mean, you fucking tattooed at 16, you opened your shop at 18, and then what, like 19, you're like, I do Japanese only?
It's probably a bit longer, 20, 22. I did a lot of like, you know, through the David Beckham Angels and stuff like that.
Didn't take you long though.
No, not long. No, it was pretty quick. And then I remember doing it, and then one guy did a back piece on. I said, "Listen, can I do a back piece on you?" Actually, before I quit tattooing.
Oh, you
stopped tattooing out of a studio. So whenever
the studio's still there, but
so the guy that I worked with, I moved to the city, and with a desire to open a tattoo studio, and got a part-time job at the time. But I had one customer from my hometown that wanted to get Japanese sleeves. And he would come to my house, and over an ironing board, again, by today's standards, horrible, cling filmed up, we tattooed both his sleeves. And he was like, Chris, you should open your own shop. I'm like, man, this is like Belfast. Like, I don't know anybody, blah, blah. And these are like hard tattooists. And yeah, he just basically, he gave me the confidence. You know, at the time he was probably 30, but he seemed so much older. And he's like, no, listen, what you're doing to me and whatever. And so then I decided to get the shop. But even the whole shop process was remarkably like going to look at a premises with another person who was looking at it, and they were like, yeah, the usual 10-year lease, £10,000 down. I had £300 saved up. And, you know, the whole shop was done like that, you know. And so that's just because that's that plug in the gap there, where there was a break from working in the guy's shop to have my own. There was that little sort of period,
little
gap. But I would say 22, 23 when I did the back piece, and it's really monkey see, monkey do. You know, people by seeing I had done it for someone, therefore it gave people the confidence to do that, and it just sort of snowballed from there.
Yeah, obviously it has. I mean, your portfolio reflects that. It's been all up since then, for sure. And so, gosh, work and I mean, you have a lot going on, dude. I mean, this whiskey thing, the shop. What else am I missing here?
You know what? I am the laziest person you've ever met.
No, no.
But
don't tell me that.
This is my daily routine.
That's what I kind of want to know.
Yeah. So I get up. It's not only like up at 4 and do a wellness session. No, not that shit at all. I get up as late as possible. Usually around like 7:30. The kids get up. We have breakfast, whatever. And I'm in the studio from 8:30. So I start tattooing at 9, and usually finished around 4.
Okay. And
to beat the traffic, get home for 5. The kids have already got home from school. We have dinner and hang out. Then we have some homework or whatever. And every night, we all sit down and watch a movie together. Every night, without fail.
Jesus Christ! And making me feel like a bad dad over here.
But I have 2 boys. It's probably hard. It's hard work for my wife. She used to like watch Marvels and stuff. But we'll watch like old movies and Bullet. You know, like just sitting down, spend that time together. And the boys will go to bed, and then me and my wife will just sit and talk shit for an hour, and then go to bed. And like I don't produce. Like I don't do artwork or anything like that, and I do feel guilty about not doing that. But I just think, I just like the decision to do something and stick to it. Decision not to do something and stick to it the same way. I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to feel guilty about
What do you
not
mean
doing
by I don't do? Do you hand draw everything on people? Or what do you mean you don't do artwork?
Oh, well, I don't do anything extra.
Oh,
you know,
beyond
that,
beyond the work
you know,
for the tattoo.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not. I would sit down and draw for prints and stuff. I do one every 10 years.
Right.
It's really not great because I'm not skilled in the process, so it's painful to do it. I look at it and go, oh God. And then I get prints made and people buy them and I go, oh, they're so glad you like that because I didn't know if I should have brought it. But preparation for tattooing is really streamlined as well. You know, 50% of the time you're just working on something and everything else is predominantly just drawn on. You know, you can do the consultation the night before and the foils ring them because most of them like fly in, ring them, and you just hope they don't say, I want a samurai. You're like, oh no, I have to really draw that. I really have to draw that one. I have to sit down and really...
Sharpies aren't going to get that one.
I have to sit down now and draw that, you know.
So you do draw most of the other things, the kois, all these other, the dragons you're drawing on.
Just draw them on. Yeah. And it's so loose. It's really loose.
They're probably looking like, what are you about to do? Don't worry, I've got this.
Yeah. I do say that, like have a look in the mirror. I know it's not going to make any sense, but like, you know, it's just, this is this and this is that. It's going to do this. It's going to flow into this. Like, I believe everything you just said.
Well, at your place in your career, you can get away with that.
Well,
yeah.
I
you
remember,
have the evidence behind you to prove it, right?
Yeah, because I used to draw everything meticulously out. And I found that 90% of the time when I put the stencil on, you know, well, the wave was flat on the paper, but it's a bit, you know, it's not flowing.
It doesn't stencil the same way.
I remember one session with Philip, and he said to me, "Are you still drawing everything out?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "What? You know what you're doing now." Like, and it was I think wee moments like that. I throw away a comment from Philip, but he, you know, just one of many. But it's a moment of deep reflection for the person hearing it. You go, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Why am I over-engineering this?
Overthinking it. Yeah, that's, well, I mean, my career, I don't know. I don't want to get into why it happened the way it happened. Everything's perfect and I'm very happy about it all. But I didn't specialize. I was more like, oh, I'm a surreal, I don't know what I am, but I do tattoos that are just different. So every job's a new job and it's a new idea. And now I look back and I'm like, and again, it's perfect, but there is a part of me that thinks I should have just picked a genre and just, because to repeat one thing over and over again as a craftsman is a great way to get to perfection. And not to mention the fucking workload. Like, I can't hand draw on a fucking woman looking up to the left with a bird perched on her finger, and so it's just, and it's not the workload I'm trying to get out of. It's just that I wonder what would have happened if I would have done one genre over and over and over for 25 years, you know?
I actually think that your tattoos are more a pure reflection of you as an artist than mine are. The most honest part, because we have a couple of friends back home who are really renowned painters, and you can see every aspect of the energy of who they are as an artist in the piece. The most honest part of my tattooing, the most purest expression of me as a creative person, is whenever I get the Sharpie and just go. Everything after that is me trying to create a Japanese tattoo. There's energy that is synonymous with what I'm doing, like as in a style that's reflective in it, but it's a footnote to obtaining something that looks Japanese. So this is something that I'm thinking about now. If I continue in my trajectory, will I some point feel like I didn't put enough of me and relied heavily on the Japanese aesthetics and wanting to experiment more? The waves are mine. I think as anyone does Japanese, that part's yours. But like a samurai, I'm looking at a wood block, I'm looking at the armor, and okay, that's the way that works. That's nothing me there. That's nothing about that as Chris. The colors maybe, the palette, whatever, but I'm still, like, the main frame is trying to squeeze my square peg into that round hole. So I actually think that it gives me the opportunity of more free time because I'm in a flow state of repetition. But it's any easy path is gonna be the least rewarding. It might be the least stress and rewarding at the time, but in the long term, you're gonna look at your body of work and see times and moments where of an expression of you as an artist and how you were making things flow, where mine will always be. I strive for consistency in the Japanese style, and that means I'm surrendering a lot of pure expression in the process.
I see your point. I feel a little better, thank you.
No, I like it's really, because that's the big. If you any white person that does Japanese, it's interesting. Like, and where we're at in 2025 globally, in terms of like, you know, the big thing is about political correctness and certainly like cultural appropriation. Fucking hell, for 25 years I've been aspiring to do Japanese tattoos. There's a photograph of me on my banner in a fucking kimono holding a samurai sword. Like, what the fuck? In no other industry would
I was gonna go here with you.
Yeah, that would be it wouldn't be acceptable in any fucking other industry, but it's fine here. But that's because
has it always been fine though? I always wondered about the white guys that were fucking taking over the Japanese scene, how the Japanese and those people that are from there. Did you ever hear any or feel any friction in it all? Like, what the fuck are you doing? This is you aren't from here. You go back and do some Celtic knots or something.
Well, you know, that's another massive thing that sort of touches into what I was saying about my expression of that's what I should do. Of course, it would make more sense if I was sitting with big tribal Irish stuff and I was the guy that does that, because it would be like, oh, it's so culturally pure,
right?
Because that's where he's from, and but then that would be contrived, because I would have to fight against the tide of all those years of being influenced by my life. What is identity really? Because you're just trying to become a parody of that idea. But I think the biggest, you know, the biggest hurdling or stumbling blocks for white guys aspiring to do Japanese stuff is other white guys that have been doing it longer. They're the worst. They're the ones that gatekeep the most. I've never met anyone from Asia that has ever looked down their nose at what I'm doing, because they just appreciate that you appreciate, and that they know that you're aspiring to get to somewhere. You're not just coming, taking it and leaving. You're doing something, and especially, you know, this is just my opinion, that Japanese tattooing, we think of it in terms of being from Japan, but actually now you walk around, there's Japanese tattooing done by guys from Korea, Vietnam, Taiwan, Hong Kong, China. So you take all those guys, and like technically,
they're impossible.
They're taking it as well.
Right.
They're closer to it, and from to the west, it all seems somewhat similar. But religious iconography wise, it's really not.
Different.
It's their thing.
Yeah.
But so everyone's just trying to do something and do it the best possible way and respectfully. And I think that's what comes through the most.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I mean, and you certainly are. Not everyone is, but you certainly are. And that's cool to hear that, though. And it's funny to hear that it's the white guy gatekeepers are the ones that come at you the most. That's just jealousy, because you're probably doing it better than them.
Yeah. Well, they know more. They actually know more.
Well, I wouldn't think any of that would be happening anymore. I mean, that gate's open. Anyone can do anything now.
That's true. Yeah.
I was just thinking back in the day if there was any friction in that area. I mean, even myself. I mean, it wasn't in my heart. I don't think it was in my heart to do Japanese tattooing like you have described. It was calling to you in so many ways. And, you know, respect to that, because you were talking about me expressing my authentic nature as an artist. I think you've done the same. It was crying out for you your whole life. And for me, it didn't. And so I went off and did my thing. So that's fine. But now the gates are open, anybody can do anything, and that's beautiful too. But that's interesting to hear that there was very little friction from the people from Japan trying to say, get the fuck out of here, we invented this shit. Yeah. You go do your stuff, you know.
Well, because I'm younger as well, so I certainly wasn't like, I wasn't making like groundbreaking. I mean, Philip's generation were the ones that put their neck on the line in that respect of doing.
I should have asked Philip that question.
You know, because they would have been meeting, and they would have been meeting an older generation of Japanese tattooists as well.
Right.
So that'd have been a lot more around that. Where I feel that, like, I think it's as long as you're just respectful in anything you do, you really can't go wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and I haven't, and I'm sure they see it. The samurai, I look at it and cringe. That banner, I need to change it. I'd go, oh, what was I thinking? But
well,
I'm sure some of them look at it and go,
we don't know each other, and we do now, and I'm very happy to sit with you today because you're fucking rad. But I saw that picture.
Yeah.
and I'll just tell you honestly, I saw it. And I was just like, okay, that guy's obviously a red-haired Viking, and his tattoos are sick. But what's he? I thought you were going to come in here in like a kimono or something.
Yeah, no.
With a bottle of sake, or I didn't know what. But yeah, I'm learning. It's cool. You love that art. It called out to you. That's the best part of the story.
That's totally it. And like, there's a lot of guys who will do Japanese, and they know everything about like the different theater masks and name, and they tend to use the Japanese terminology for stuff. And like mine is just lions and tigers and bears, just dragons and phoenixes and kois. I don't really get to do too much obscure stuff, and it's because I have all the books. I just can't get through them all, and people tend to like just want those things from me, the big, strong, energetic pieces.
And those things make for good tattoos. I mean, those things are the ones that make great tattoos, Okay, so you're not a Japanese historian.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
In the slightest. And it's,
I wondered that about you too. I'm like, this guy's probably going to know all about the Edo period and everything that ever occurred in Japan.
I don't think I've said the word hokusai, and I just said it there now with any degree of confidence that I'm even saying it right. But it doesn't diminish the absolute like connection and respect I have for the culture. And it's interesting, a few weeks ago there was a Japanese Irish traditional band came to Ireland for the first time. And they're called Pinch of Snuff, and they play traditional Irish music. Fiddles, flutes, the whole shebang. And they're all from Japan, all from Tokyo.
That would be surreal.
And I was like, I need to go and check these guys out. This is like the musical version of me. They've never been in Ireland. There was their first time visiting in Ireland, and they play traditional Irish music. And I went to see them, and the whole time I just was like, this is fucking awesome. And I hope, if that's how the Japanese see me doing their tattoos, and I'd like to think it is, it's just enjoying someone enjoying your thing. Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah, no, the way you say it, I'm like, of course that's the way. I mean, you were honored that they had that much respect and interest in your culture.
Yeah.
So much so that they're Japanese and they're flying out here to play your music to you. Yeah, that is very flattering.
And I didn't hold it to any standard, by the way.
They didn't have to do it well.
Yeah, they didn't have to do it well at all.
But they must love it.
Yeah.
They're
just there, and the energy, there was one.
Was it good though?
It was awesome.
Oh, I thought you were going to say awful.
Technically, no. It was a bit mad.
Okay.
But one of the girls was playing the fiddle, and like obviously you have access to the best fiddlers in Ireland. You get to hear you're technically fantastic, but her passion for doing it was clear, and you could not be admire it,
right.
And that transcended everything else. They were having a blast, and everyone was just like, "This is amazing." That's cool. You don't really get to see that often. Such diverse cultural differences, like crossing over, like Japanese people doing traditional Irish music.
This is a little bit of maybe it falls in line with what we're talking about, but in the mid-90s, there was a phase in Southern California. I don't know why this was happening. It's weird, really, but for whatever reason, there was like 4 years there where suddenly out of nowhere, there's Japanese tourists. I have a shop in Pacific Beach in San Diego, and I have another one near the city. This is the one at the beach, right? I know these people, I know these tourists, they're all this or they're that. Suddenly for about 4 years, planes are coming in and dropping off Japanese young men, and they're just all over the place and getting tattooed. And it was just so hilarious. They would come in, they would want a Harley Davidson logo, then a a tribal armband, and then an Indian portrait. You know, to them, all this was an American tattooing. You know, they didn't understand the differences in these different genres. You know, and I always found that so curious. I still don't know why that happened, because it started and then it just stopped. I don't know what it was.
That's something that the first time I went to Japan, I found quite like interesting, that Americana is so much like baseball is a massive sport there. KFC is massive. If you go to any little antique shop, they're either going to have really old antiques that are, you know, bronzes from Edo period, or it's going to be vintage Coca-Cola stuff. So there's a real like love for Americana there, and I guess the tattoo's sort of part of that. But I think it just shows you, no matter how rich your culture is, young people are always gonna just look for something else, look outside and appreciate something that's and the way I don't do Celtic. You know, it's right there, but I just looked right past it. You know,
well, it's novelty. Nobody thinks their hometown's cool, right?
Yeah.
Until you want to leave your hometown, and the people come to your hometown. You're like, you live in the coolest place ever. You're like, what, this place? Place fucking sucks. Can't wait to get out of here. That is, we all want novelty. We want, I don't know what it is, but we are all seeking something new and interesting, and repeating what your culture does. Some people do that, but I could understand really clearly why a guy like you would be like, yeah, I've seen this Celtic stuff my whole life. Look at this Japanese stuff over here. Let's look into that. Wow, very cool. Well, let's switch gears here for just a second. So I'm always curious to understand this. There's a big conversation happening in the industry with this. Everybody's like, I don't know, I'm so slow. The business is this. I think the world economy is something's happening, and that's a deep rabbit hole we could go down. How are things in Ireland? Economically, I don't even know what's going on.
Economically, I think that, you know, like, there's certainly, like, there is, I think after COVID, a lot of things had to be recouped. Interest rates went up. The mortgage, which had a massive impact on people's mortgages, so that's less disposable income. Interest on loans, that means, you know, basically everything leading into having less extra money. 2008 was bigger headlines, but I think actually was less detrimental. I think this has been stealthily happening. And so 2008, you know, tattooists, I've navigated that quite well. I certainly did. You know, you might have a different type of client, a shift, but now definitely you see people are a bit more, you know, decisive of what they're going to spend their money on, and less frivolous about it. But I did get a little downturn, but I had to like sit and think, like, what exactly is it? Why is it happening to me? It's easy to go, it's tattooing in general, and then wash your hands of responsibility. And I actively changed a few things, and it took 6 months for it to rectify itself, but it took 3 years for it to happen, so it was going to take time to rectify itself. And most of that was just being a little bit more productive in terms of social media, just posting more.
That's what you were going to say.
Really, really simple stuff. Just posting more. I wasn't hashtagging. I wasn't finding out opportune moments to think. I wasn't trying to create new ways to make content. I just did what I did when I was trying to build the business.
You didn't have to.
Yeah.
And now suddenly, I don't know if you have to, but it's certainly becoming part of the...
It does. You just have to, like, in the language you use, when you want customers, you do a lot to attract them. When you have them, you probably don't realize it, but you just stop doing those things. You become complacent and different things. And that can happen. You know, the email all of a sudden is taking 3 or 4 days to get a reply, or like, I don't really want to do that, or whatever. And then we sat down. My wife does all the appointments, and I think I lifted the diary one day and just was flicking through, just assuming it was booked up for months. And I think like 4 or 5 turns, I was like, what the fuck? And she was like, I didn't want to tell you, like, because I was stressed out, like, about this, but like, I'm like, I really needed to know this. And I just literally went to my phone. It says the album's called Campaign. Like, I was like, in my head, it's like, I thought of a campaign. And I just went through all my photographs and just started like moving them into that album. So I wasn't necessarily relying on the piece that was done that day.
Right.
I was like just
recycling all your best
recycling stuff,
things.
and then just like every other day doing this, And then, you know what, this is going to sound so obvious. Instead of just going, snake and peony, it was like, snake and peony, really love and enjoy doing that. A little bit, just a little bit more involvement. And then at the bottom, to book in, email, blah, blah, blah. I mean, like, not profound changes, but literally in the space of a month or two, emails started coming back in again. Because it's just like, you know, of course tattoos are good if you're following the page. But you just want, you need to make something just a little bit more to it. Give it a bit of soul. Because we experience that before we take the photograph. We take it for granted, but that doesn't translate to the person who's seeing it. So if, by doing that, that changed, just being more engaging. Honestly, just replying to comments under pieces that became harder to manage, and then they start diminishing. Because this people don't understand. If someone follows you, and has followed you for a long time, and they leave a comment, oh man, I really like that piece. That's like, for them, that's like walking up to you in the bar and saying that. And if you just look at them, they're just going to take that personally. So you have to like engage with people, and just because social media, love it or hate it, it's a new community, and you have to treat people with the same respect you would in real life on that. And I think like all those little things changed massively, and it just. Everything's totally fine now. I did make a lot of decisions as well in terms of lifestyle, but I was ready for that. COVID was great. It just washed out a lot of things that were completely unnecessary out of my life. But that's all it was. It wasn't anything crazy or profound. Like I don't really know much about social media, but I know that most things I see is people like complaining about an algorithm. I think if you're reliant on that in the first place, it's probably problematic. It wasn't there before. It's not. I don't think it's the thing that is fucking with you. I think you're probably fucking yourself somewhere. And if you just be purely honest and figure out what it is you're not doing right, then you can work on it. You know, but I could be completely wrong. By the way, it could be completely the algorithm.
Well. Like most things, it's probably a little bit of both, you know. But I like what you said about, it's like being at the bar and you have a fan there, and if they said hi to you and you just went, how rude is that, right? So you have these people on your page that are like, love your work, love your stuff, and I'm guilty of it. I don't read all that stuff. I'm starting to do it more because I'm realizing what you're saying. But to not ever respond, they're like, I give that guy a compliment for 5 years. He's never even written me back. Never even gave me a thumbs up on that shit.
Oh, totally. And I've been on the other side of that. And I think that's what you need to find. You need to put yourself on the other side of that and get pissed off at someone for, you wrote them a nice message and it says seen. And you're like, fuck that guy then. So you're like, whoa, holy shit, I think I might have been that guy sometimes. So you got to change it up. Plus, I'm really fortunate. My wife does the correspondence, and she is amazing. She's a beautiful human being. So the way she communicates with people is fantastic. So even if she's shit in terms of how long she replies, she's really engaged. And she's like, well, how are you? How did the job go? And that's massive as well. It's just really personable from the get-go.
Well, to have help, I mean, the young people coming in right now, they have to do all that work. They have to make the reel. They have to respond to the people. It's like we got a new job. There's a new whole part of our workflow that just got introduced. Which is, I'm a little bitter about it, but that's the reality of the situation, right?
Well, because we definitely got it good for such a long time.
Yes.
And we didn't have marketing.
There was no marketing.
No marketing. I mean, I remember the only marketing you would have done when I first opened the shop, and I remember it was like habitual. The first person I rang was the Yellow Pages, and you got your Yellow Page ad. And it was interesting. Every other industry was just, you got your free name and number. Go to the tattoo section, it was like, everybody's trying to fight for the biggest advert. And I remember it was like, we use single-use needles, and like, you've only got one skin, come to, blah, blah. And it was really like, and it was clip art, like, clip art. But I remember just like, you just want to get a full page ad. People are like, whoa, he must be good. And that was all you did. It was £500 a year, and that was the only piece of marketing you ever did.
That was it. You were done for the year with marketing.
Yeah. But like, if you think of like what a company spends percentage of their profits is spent on marketing, if tattoos applied that percentage of their profits to marketing, it'd be insane. You know, Coca-Cola, I think it's 35% of their profits they spend on marketing alone for a product you already know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I guess we're all becoming adults, you know, as businesses. It's like the whole world's been doing all this stuff the whole time, and now we have to do it. And you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
We have to spend the money I was going to go out and buy shit with. I have to put it into marketing. Yeah, you own a business.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true. Well, how about let's wrap it up with this. There's so many people out there that are becoming tattooers and want to become tattooers. What would you say to those folks that are thinking about coming in now? Advice or warnings or encouragement or whatever you would say to those folks?
I don't know. I really think like you can't believe it's the most amazing thing in the world and not let everyone get a shot at that. In the same respect, you know, obviously the obvious about, you know, being passionate about it and really fully understanding like what you're doing to someone. And that, I think that's, I would probably just, it's a human experience to get tattooed and to give a tattoo. And I think if you're always focusing on the customers and you really want to give people tattoos, you don't want to just create your tattoos. And if that's where their headspace is at, then I would be like super, like wanting to help them out with that. I just don't think that is there in younger generations as much, and it's just eroding away from society in general. And I think tattooing, they're seeing it through the aesthetics of the output, and they're building all their expectations on that, and not getting tattooed enough. First of all, probably, you know, because like that's that's probably what you need to do. You need to get tattooed. You need to get a lot. And I don't have my front tattooed, and that's the one part of when I tattoo people that they tap out on. And I think they know he hasn't got this done, so why should I have to man up and, you know, excuse the terminology, in that moment if he hasn't? And that, I think that's why there's you need to be getting tattooed to appreciate what it is you're doing to people, and then focus on creating good tattoos.
I like how you said that. People, not everybody, but there seems to be a hyper focus on just the aesthetic output. And I think the phones have done that. Like, oh, if I can make it look like that, I'm going to be famous and rich, and I'm going to do great.
Yeah.
And that, I guess, can happen. But I like what you said there. I agree. You know, this and getting tattooed is a great way to learn that, because being the receiver before you become the deliverer is going to teach you that, most likely.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, this has been really fucking awesome to hang out with you. You got a fucking great energy, dude. I am digging you. I don't know what you did last night, but it's working. No,
I really, really enjoyed that. Like, I really did.
Yeah.
It's really nice, especially because it's just the chaos. It's
quiet in here.
It's like incubated and just.
Oh, we've been hiding in here.
Yeah,
I can't do the.
It must be hard when you have to go out into the madness. Just like, fuck, it's so sensory overload.
Oh yeah. We're on day 3. We're all on day 3. We all know how it feels, day 3 of these things. But
when do you fly home?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning, like early in the morning.
Yeah. I won't get into why. I fucked that up. I can't believe I did that. I should have stuck around here for a week. First time to Germany, first time to Frankfurt. I'm going to change that next year, especially now how much I've fallen in love with this entire thing they're doing here. But going home tomorrow.
It's hard when you're booking stuff because like it's no matter how much you know you're going to have a good time, it always feels like you're leaving responsibilities. So you go, let's just get me in, get me out. Yes. When you get here, you go, oh shit, I should have.
That shit could have waited.
Yeah, could have, yeah.
Plus, my wife couldn't come with me, and she's like my partner in crime. Like, we go I don't think I've ever been away. I've never traveled overseas for sure without her.
Yeah, without her, yeah.
Yeah, she couldn't make it, so I'm like, oh, I'll just come straight back home. But I probably should have stuck around.
But it's good because you're leaving with a sense of excitement to come back and bring her back.
Big time. Yeah. No, I've been to a lot of shows. Been tattooing a long time. I was just telling my friends here that I got the tickle today, or not today, but this weekend. Something was ignited in me that I haven't felt in a long time, and I think I needed it. I mean, I'm 33 years in, and I don't know. I got inspiration.
Yeah.
And I always get a little, but I got a lot of inspiration this weekend, so I'm stoked. I'm very pumped to have been here. I'll be back for sure.
Yeah, no, it is fantastic. It's overwhelming sometimes, but it's a win-win. If what you're doing is better than everything around you, then that's good. And if everything around you is better than what you're doing, then it's an opportunity to get inspired. So it's a real win-win scenario. You know?
It's been a good decision, and I will be back, and perhaps I'll come out and see you sometime too.
Yeah, you come to Belfast. Belfast it's cool. Like it's got its own thing. You know, I have the troubles and a lot of civil, issues, but like it's a real fun place. Yeah.
All right, I think I just got an invitation.
Yeah, no, you're welcome absolutely anytime, man. Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yeah, I'll show you a weird part of the world.
I like weird. I love weird. All right, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
appreciate your time. Everybody who tuned in, thank you, and we'll see you on the next one. Till then, peace out.